What was your most expensive mistake? Spending all my bitcoins back in the days way before they went through the roof. I bought a box of mixed tea for $25 million. I remember a barber shop in my town advertised they'd accept Bitcoin. This was way back at the start, that kinda thing was unheard of. I wonder how many $1 million haircuts were actually given. Getting pregnant at 16. Did you keep him or her? I was in high school with a girl who was pregnant our freshman year. 13, man. She handled it really well though. Graduated with honors, worked her ass off to put herself through college, and now she's a social worker helping people. Her daughter is like 18 now. The dad was never in the picture, but she met someone that loved her as his own, and they got married and just had a kid together. Damn. Back in university I was in a relationship with a guy. We had only been going out a couple of months, but decided to book a holiday to Europe for the following month. It was close to £400 each. Within 2 weeks he had decided he was bored of me, split up with me, and we couldn't get refunds or give the tickets to anyone else unless we paid £80 to change the traveler's details. Leaving my car unlocked back in 2013. I was just starting my career as a photographer-photojournalist. After work one day I went on a date with a girl I met. I didn't want to carry my camera with me so I left my gear in the car and went hiking with her. In my nervousness I forgot to lock my doors. Came back and someone opened my car door and stolen all my camera gear and laptop. Almost $10,000 in gear gone. Couldn't go through insurance because the car wasn't broken into and the police couldn't do anything. I had to leave my job at the newspaper I worked for after that because they didn't have any camera equipment of their own for me to use. Completely stopped my career and I was stuck in a dead-end town working temp jobs to scrape by for the next 4 years until I met my ex and we managed to save up enough together to get out of that town. I finally bought myself a cheap DSLR last year and have started to pick up photography again. I often wonder how different my life would be if I had just remembered to lock my car door that day. Selling the condo I owned outright with no mortgage and putting it all towards a new life with my ex-long-term relationship partner who later cheated on me and left me after 9 years. He got the house. I left with a quarter of the money I sunk into it. Lesson learned for me. I'm a dumbass. Hugs. Relationships are at times the most expensive mistakes in the world, especially if they don't end amicably. Yes, I have been there except without the house. During my hopelessly romantic phase as a teen, I spent 5 years chasing after this one girl. Spent a lot of my allowance and hard-earned part-time money to woo her, including gifts, trips, events, and eating out. She never showed any appreciation nor reciprocated her feelings, but I thought one day I'd be able to change her mind. I ended up spending about $12,000 by the end. It was an important life lesson for me in many ways though. Gave me a lot of insights about relationships in general. When I was 7, I accidentally brought $800 worth of Star Wars movies. I kid you not, when my father finished scolding me, he stormed into the living room, sat down, turned on the TV, and started watching the Clone Wars. I worked at a comic book store when I was high school. It was a very small business, so we just had a calculator to add up the prices of everything, and then we'd put it in a register. An elderly man came in, maybe mid-80s, asking for every 12 and 15-cent issue of Spider-Man and Superman. There were at least 20 and all different prices. The guy and his wife kept yelling at me while I was calculating everything, and long story short, I forgot to add a $400 comic to the total. They left before I realized. Called my dad crying on the phone, he said I knew what I had to do. Went to the bank on my break and took out the money to put back in the register. Worst part about it was that the guy came in all the time, but I didn't feel like it was right to say something because of a mistake I made. Like, comment and subscribe for more interesting stories.